Hello everyone. Today we have Mechagon Workshop plus 10 on Mythic as a Master of Harmony Brewmaster monk. This is the route that we took in the video. We skipped one of the packs right before the final boss. You can do this if you have a priest or a rogue. And if you don't have any of those, this would be the route that you can take. You would obviously end up with more count, but it's necessary. You really can't avoid any of this. And in the last video, I said that I had done a normal undermine rate and I got some gear. As you can see, my stats are way different. 24% crit, 20%, 26% versatility, and I got a new two-hander as well, the one I got from Floodgate. This ring I got from the raid. I got lucky with the stats, mastery, and versatility. This as well I got from a dungeon. I also have one from Delves, but I opted to use that one since it has more crit and I already have a lot of versatility. Now, sadly, I wasn't able to get this run with audio. I didn't check my OBS and it didn't record any audio at all. So it's pretty much going to be mute. I'll try to fast forward through all of the unnecessary things just so that we don't waste a lot of time. But this first pull is important because you'll see right now we end up wiping here. So not the Strider Tonks, but the bombs you're supposed to interrupt. Here we have two in this pack, and then we have two in this other one. So we have four total that we need to interrupt. We have the stuns and the AoE CC for it. We just were not good at keeping it up. So there we had one interrupt, but we still have three more. If two of these go off, it's an automatic wipe. There I'm trying frantically to make sure that they don't go off. I'm pinging everything, but here two of them go off and we die. I just opted to do a quick reset by dying. At that point, there was really nothing you can do. You just had to reset the run. Just trying to make sure that we all have enough health. I don't really have any defensive, so I'm trying to buy out some time. I have a Celestial Brew now and Exploding Keg, so here we go. And so again, it's the same thing. You want to make sure that you interrupt these so that they don't blow up and destroy the whole raid. Quick DPS, and we'll move on to the boss. Now for this boss, the important thing is that you tank it next to those hammers so that whenever the Platinum Pummeler has his Platinum plating, you get it off right away. This No Mercy for You is kind of hilarious name. But they also do like a frontal toss up for any DPS. So they have to make sure that they're not being tossed into the front or where the pummeler is at. As you can see there, the DH almost got tossed in front of me. Has some AoE damage there you have to take care of. Whenever the card does the maximum thrust, you have to make sure that you bait it into the wall just so it stuns it. So here I'm getting the plating off the Platinum Pummeler. It's a short stun. Making sure that we DPS them evenly because they tend to soften rage whenever one of them dies. So you don't want to kill one while the other one's still at like 20% because that's definitely a wipe. In this 10, you could still kind of pull it off, but I wouldn't recommend it. So again, maximum thrust, making sure he's thrusting right into the wall. He does his AoE, and I'm looking to make sure that after he casts his platinum plating, I move him into the hammer. And there, I get both of them stunned. Now the next one is all the way in the other side of the room. Now what you want to do here is just to help out the melee DPS is soak up any of those mines that are around just because the DPS will run into them, not intentionally, but they're doing so much that they're gonna run into them. So what you can do is just soak up a few if you feel like there's too many around. You also want to stand on top of a panel. You don't want to move into the lines or tank it on top of the lines. Here, baited him right into it, making sure we're DPSing everything down pretty even. The DPS was really good. Um, Sadly, there my meters are covered up by my Raider IO, but I'll post the meters at the end. And that's it. First set of bosses done, easy. Now for the next pack of mobs, it's kind of important that you don't overpull because they synergize your abilities. So the extractor deals a lot of AoE damage, and this gunk applies a healing absorb on the whole party. So if it was hard enough for the healer to just heal up the extractor's AoE damage, now imagine having to deal with the corrosive gunk's um, AoE healing absorb. So I'm focusing in on that. I'm using my leg sweep into my paralysis into my ring of peace just so I can delay it as much. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to pull it off. If I had communication with my group, I probably would have asked them to AoE CC them. So again, you only want to pull 2 packs at a time, one with a gunk and one of the excavator units for the same reason. You don't want to over apply a healing absorb with mass AoE. Now these dogs here, you don't want to pull too many. I pulled 4. That was probably a bit too much. You can only do 3 at a time just to make sure that nobody gets destroyed. I got a little bit too overconfident, thinking it's a 10 we can all survive. But as you can see, the group starts to take a lot of damage. So the healer is probably just struggling. So pull 3 at a time. You don't need to pull all of them. It's not necessary. You might wipe your group unintentionally. So here we finish cleaning up the trash, and then I pull the next boss, K.U.J.O. What you have to remember about him is, one, dodge the box there like the priest did not do, but I imagine he wasn't really paying too much attention, but luckily it didn't one-shot him. Venting flames, you have to, again, break LOS so you hide behind the box. This group was a little bit shady. I don't know why the hunter and the demon hunter were trying to peek out and get some extra DPS on him. It's not going to make much of a difference getting an extra ability out if it means that you're going to die. So just wait behind the box. You'll be fine. Um, you're better alive than dead. So getting that extra ability off is not really worth it. So again, here, venting flames, as you can see, just hide. That's all you got to do. The other thing is that blazing chop, when you dispel it, it does an AoE damage. So you could dispel it off with diffuse magic, but it's better if the healer does it, if the healer can, just so that they know that they're ready for the AoE damage. You don't want to just, remove it and then just kill someone. There again, the hunter was clearly not hiding behind the box and he gets destroyed. We get him up and we continue. And that's pretty much the whole fight. You just have to make sure that you hide behind the box. Don't let the box fall on you. This little conveyor belt area is annoying, but luckily as a monk you have Tiger's Lust and you have roll, so you can get by it fast. You can walk along the edge of the conveyor belt, but it gets a little bit tricky because you can potentially just fall off. So you don't want to risk it. The rogue died to the flames on the vent, I'm pretty sure. So just take it easy. Everybody's gonna get there. This dungeon requires a lot of patience. This part and one of the ones that's coming up. This is another area where your Blackhawk statue really helps a lot. As you can see here, there's two Tinkerers who are casters, but if you cast the statue in the middle of the circle, they all run towards it, so it makes it easier for you to group up. Instead of running in and then trying to keg smash your way in there. There, two of the DPS again died to the squirrels, I imagine. So again, you need like a lot of interrupts here, as you can see. I'm trying my best. That's probably why I got the interrupt weak aura. As you can see, the hunter, the rogue, and the demon hunter were not interrupting anything at all. So I guess people still haven't learned from season 1. And another problematic area is this. People don't know where to stand, but you have to stand in between the two lasers. That's the safe area. Normally you would ping it. Here I didn't ping it because I had a marker and I figured they would see it. So always try to ping wherever you're moving just so that everybody knows where the safe spot is. People tend to kind of zone out, especially when they're dealing with a lot of damage they need to heal or they're trying to get out as much damage to get this thing down. This next section, you cannot use a rogue vanish or anything like that to get through it. You'll just end up resetting everything. So you have to be patient again. You can wait in this vent right here, and this detectobot will not see you. There, I managed to time it perfectly. And then I just let my team know, like, just be patient. Don't rush it, because if you fail this once, twice, 3 times, you've already wasted like 30 seconds. So definitely be patient here. And again, this, gather everyone, one tinkerer here, fast grouping up. Something that people don't know, or probably people might find out a little bit later, is that yellow shield works in your favor and against your favor. So for example, the defense bot MK1, he does an AoE. If your group stands in it, like the hunter's doing, they take 75% less damage and it makes it easier for the healer. Later on you'll see that I kind of ping them and let them know how to use it. This boss, I kind of like this boss. It's a bit fun just because you get to move around a lot. These plants have to die because they will shoot down your DPS like immediately. Also try to dodge those discs. And predicting the movement of the lasers, who knows? It could go one way or the other, but that's kind of why you want to stand in the middle, just so that you don't get caught to the edge in case it starts to move towards you. And keeping an eye on those blades that are shooting around. Poor priest there almost got clipped in the back by one. Poor Torin. But he made it out. And here again, I'm looking at the top left. Activate plant is about to come up in 1 second. So I'm trying to look around to see where it's at. I see it shooting. And I run over. I had to touch a death that one because my priest was getting low. So I needed to get it down as fast as possible. This could have gotten a bit messy because the rogue got pinned against the wall with the wheels, and there, I think the hunter got pinned by something. Poor hunter, he had a rough time in this dungeon. I think he died the most out of everyone. I don't know if that probably frustrated him, or maybe he just wasn't really aware of everything. But we try to be nice to him, you know. It's still the beginning of the season. I really like that he had that weak aura to announce that his 2-minute cooldowns are ready. And that's pretty much it. You just dodge everything, kill the plants, and then DPS the boss. Okay, so for this pull, do not do this. Do not pull both spider tanks together because you could potentially wipe everyone. You see, everybody's at 50% health, and this is just the initial pull. I'm pretty sure the priest was upset because he's about to die, and this pull was completely unnecessary the way I did it. Pull it one at a time, avoid the beams, and just make sure that everybody is being topped off, avoiding all of these things. So make it easier on yourself. Now this section is the hardest section of the dungeon. Check this out. You pull one of these Mark III defense robots because there's two that patrol, so make sure you only pull one. Now, here he's doing his short out, which is his AoE. If the scroll wasn't there, we probably would have stood inside of the generator for less damage. I'm just trying to make sure that I keep him out of it just so that we can DPS them down fast. But you can stand in it again to take a lot less AoE damage. Here I pulled them out because I have to, and I'm trying to position myself to go back in there, but at this point it's a little bit too late. It's unnecessary. But just to prove my point, everybody's taking a lot less damage, makes it easier in the healer. So try to position the mobs in a way where you can be in it and they can be outside of it. So here we pull this one alone. We already cleared most of it. We don't have to worry too much about it. Now, if you look at our count, we're going to be way over. So I'm letting the rogue know to just cloak us past it so we can get to the last pack. You cannot cloak the last pull before the boss. It has two of these defense robots and they will detect you, so don't even attempt it. So again, me trying to think ahead, we have 10 minutes left. I'm just trying to make sure that we don't die anymore. We already have 11 deaths, one. And then two, just trying to make sure that we can finish the dungeon. I want this 10. So I'm waiting for the rogue. And this is my mistake here. I pull before everybody gets through and Demon Hunter dies. So we just reset it. The rogue is like, should we reset it? I'm like, sure. It's a lot faster. Yeah, because by the time we try to recover from this, we've probably wasted like 5 minutes and that's over. So I'm trying to jump off the edge, it's not working. I'm standing in the circle, taking a lot less damage. It's a bit silly, but we finally die. Now, backup plan number 2. We have a priest. So the priest can soothe, and once the priest soothes, you can ring a piece. Priest here ring of soothes, and I ring a piece just to make sure. Got a little nervous, and spinning crane kick would have destroyed us there again. So last pull, I should have used the defensive before I dampened harm right away to start to panic, and I pull him into the little hallway. Again, same thing. When the defender puts out his zone, you want to stand in it. So as you can see, everybody's standing in it except for the rogue, and we're all taking no damage pretty much. We're taking 0 damage. You don't want to kill the defender first. You want to make sure that you kill the defense bots before the defender dies, just because his little defense shield is very important. So I'm pulling them all out, making sure that they're not in there while I try to stand in there. He's about to cast short out. This one's almost dead, so we're not too worried. The shield should be enough to hold us off. Again, as you can see, we took no damage from that. I'm trying to stand in it still, making sure that I'm not getting destroyed by this. And on to the final boss. So this boss really reminds me a lot of the final boss in City of Threads, where if you tank them in the center and your DPS stay on the outside, they can bait the orbs around. I tried to do that here, but didn't work out too well. But this fight is very similar. You just avoid the orbs and make sure that when you get the Mega Zap, you don't stand in front of anyone because the Mega Zap will hit them as well. when he casts takeoff, you have to make sure that you run away. You have to make sure that you run away. It deals AoE damage, and if you stand too close to it, you're pretty much dead. So that's that. Now this boss, you can start to DPS a little bit early. Doesn't really make much of a difference, but still, getting any damage in really helps, I guess. Same orbs, you kind of just have to make sure that you dodge a laser now. This laser is not that hard to deal with. If you just stand in place, unlike I did there, if you stand in place, everybody else can just move out of the way. So instead of you trying to move it out of everyone's way, just stand still and people will move. It's a lot easier than you trying to navigate the laser to somewhere else. Once he does the magneto arm, you just keep running towards him and making sure that you're not getting sucked to the one area, because those orbs will hit you and they'll do a lot of damage. And that's pretty much it. If you can dodge the orbs and make sure that people run out of the laser instead of you baiting it out somewhere, it's easy. That's it. Kill King Mechagon and good job. You're done with the dungeon. This got me another Keystone Mastery and 2560 rating. I got this trinket, but I don't like it. It does nothing for us. Armor does nothing, and it'll absorb, if anything, 4 hits. So I thought about giving it away, but I need it because I can upgrade one of my other trinkets with it. And here are the meters. DPS 1.18 mil, and my healing as well. Not that bad. Blackout Kick doing the most because of my 4-piece, and Overwhelming Force as well, doing a lot more damage. Celestial Brew, #1 defensive now. Now that they dropped it down from needing 10 stacks to 6, I can use it a lot more often. And again, you have to really depend on yourself for these things. I went back to Mantra of Purity, and as you can see, I procced it 126 times. So that's a lot of damage that's being removed. 121 by 126. I think it's roughly like 15 million damage absorbed. Plus the extra 10% stagger that's being purified. It's a lot more compared to the Coccoon, which would normally do anywhere from 80 to 90 million damage absorbed. And keeping in mind that this is stuff that I'm kind of testing. I'm not really a professional or anything at a Brewmaster, but I just want to find something that feels more comfortable for me to play without feeling like I'm on the brink of death at every pull. And definitely having Mantra of Purity feels a lot more like I'm in control compared to the Coccoon, which will randomly proc at a time that where I probably don't need the 3 mil absorb. But at least Mantra of Purity, if I need to cleanse off 10% more stagger, it's there at my whim. And that's Mechagon plus 10 on Mythic. I will make sure that the next video has audio. This video was probably a lot more boring and shorter compared to the other ones, but maybe it's something that people like as well. But for now, I'll see you in the next one. Hopefully, I have better gear for the next one. I'll be doing Heroic Undermine this week. Take care.